right, record. There we go. Recording started. All right, we'll wait one more minute, get this going. All right, 8:05. Let's go going. All right. Welcome everybody to our first webinar. It is hosted by the Sigma Beta Rho Foundation. My name is Joel Andrews. My fraternity name is Brother Comatose. I'm from Binghamton, Beta Chapter, Gamma Class, Spring '99. So officially, as of this week, I was 25 years in Sigma Beta Rho. Really proud of that, but I got a niche here as a founding father, so he got me beat. The foundation, we'll go through agenda real quick. We're going to go through introductions real quick of the panelists and the moderators. I will kick it off a little bit by going through what the foundation is, just so people understand what we are and what we do. Once I do that, I'll kick it off the moderators and we'll get going. So we'll start off with the panelist introduction. The first one up is Anuj. So you want to just introduce yourself a little bit and we'll move on to the next person.
Hey guys, Anuj Data here, E-Class, summer 98, Brother Ogre. It's really great to be here and that we're doing something like this. And I'm just want to start off by saying that, and great job putting this together, guys. Yeah, so we're talking about business startups. So I'll just keep it brief as to what my business kind of background is. I got into business in 2007. I bought my first gas station business in Long Island, New York. From that time, bought and sold many different businesses within New York, gas stations, Subway franchises, Checkers franchises as well. So I was, very immersed in that world. In 2015, kind of decided to take a move to Texas and sell off my assets in New York and kind of move venues and to get involved in real estate investing rather than just the business side of things. So got to Texas, kind of started over in certain ways, had a lot of different life changes. Then, got involved in real estate investment, development, and eventually management. So we do management of short-term and long-term rental assets in Houston, mix of like single family, multifamily, as well as I have my own real estate portfolio, and we help investor clients find properties, develop properties for them. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Awesome. All right, next up, we have Leslie.
Hey guys, how's it going? First off, thank you guys for putting this together. I'm really actually happy to be on this panel and just share my experience. I'm happy I actually know, hey, thanks, Zia, you're my little, I love you too. I'm happy to know that, a lot of our people that we grew up with are watching this, and a lot of them have more experience than some of us on this panel. So I'm really looking forward to an interesting discussion after this. A little bit about me. I'm Follow 7, went to the University of Houston, Brother Fugitive. That was back in 2011 when I graduated. I worked as an internal consultant for a little while, both locally and internationally. Went back to Texas to get my MBA. After 2016, went to go work in big tech, starting with finance roles there. And my last role working for a larger company, I was a controller of a large oil field up in Oklahoma. I had done some small entrepreneurship things all throughout that time. Everything fizzled out for one reason or another. And then my wife actually decided to be a dentist, and no one was giving her the opportunities that she wanted. So I said, hey, let's do this together. So we started Pure Holistic Dental back in 2019. We saw our first patient in 2020 during the pandemic. That was a crazy time to start a business, but man, you had to learn a lot to do that. So the last 4 years have been wild. We grew that practice from literally zero to multi-million dollars in terms of revenue, and started other projects to recycle capital and reinvest. Similar to the news, or do some real estate on the side. We have and small other side businesses as well that we'll get into a little bit later. But again, just happy to be here and happy to answer any questions.
All right, thanks. Kunal?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kunal. Graduated from Georgia Tech in 2010. That's incorrect on the slide, but I was part of the Epsilon class at Georgia Tech. Yeah, great experience being a part of the Sigma chapter. I know it's gotten a lot of accolades recently from the national organization. I graduated as an electrical engineer. First stint out of college was in consulting. So went straight into tech consulting, kind of the standard route that people go into after not wanting to do, technical work that you learned in school, and going straight into something that's a little bit more generalized with tech consulting. So work with banks and a number of, different clients with Accenture. I quickly realized that I don't really operate really well in a big organization, and I got bit by the entrepreneurial bug 6 months into my existence out of college, and so I started a company called Better Weekdays with my co-founder. And for the better part of the last 12 years, I've been working on different products and services for Better Weekdays. The latest iteration of our business raised 6.5 of the 8.5 million that you see here from VCs and from super angels to essentially create a mentorship product that focuses on college students and helps them navigate their career path by matching them with employees from Fortune 500 companies. So we work with big companies like UBS and T-Mobile and American Family Insurance, et cetera, that allows us to impact their corporate social responsibility initiatives by having their employees give back to the next generation of talent and creating a diverse talent pipeline for their organization. So we built that business after launching the summer 2020, raised a bunch of capital, like I mentioned, and grew the team. So I'm kind of a ground up, bootstrapped initially, then raised VC capital to scale our business from where we were. So ultimately, we're trying to, at this point, sell the business. We've kind of been around for a little bit of time, and we're looking for an acquisition partner. So it's time for us to exit. I'm looking to move on from the entrepreneurial seed stage of a company and move on to other organizations that are later stage. But yeah, I've gone through kind of the real ringer when it comes to starting from scratch and building a company from to a point where we can be acquired.
Okay, great. Next, we got Justin.
Hey guys, my name is Justin. I'm from Michigan State, founding father, graduated in 2009. And yeah, ever since college, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never worked for anybody. I started out selling real estate in Metro Detroit, my hometown. Try to focus on, and originally was focusing on foreclosures and short sale properties. Then as I graduated into, other levels, I got into selling luxury properties, helping professional athletes in the Detroit area with real estate. And then I created this network called Nexus, where we help professional athletes, high net worth clients, executives, entrepreneurs relocate all across the country. So it's a membership-based network that I started, and now we have over 130 members that are in the network. It mainly consists of real estate agents, insurance providers, lenders, concierge professionals, and the goal of the network is for everyone to collaborate, exchange referrals with each other, help that clientele. And I'm actually in Detroit right now for the NFL draft. My network's doing a huge event for the NFL draft, which I'm really excited about. There's some echo there. So we do events at a lot of different sporting venues like NBA Summer League, NFL Draft, just to network and get involved with more sports agents, more athletes. That's our target clientele. I've worked with probably over 50 professional athletes in my career. I'll work with any client, any entrepreneur, executive. It doesn't have to be an athlete, but that's my target. They always need real estate. They're always moving around when they get traded with new teams, and when they want to invest after they retire. So it's a really good clientele for me and my network. But yeah, happy to be here. Any questions you guys have, I'm happy to answer.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna go into the moderator introductions. Start off with Rizwan.
Hey, good evening, guys. My name is Rizwan Khalik, and I crossed fall 2K2 out of the University of South Florida, the MU chapter. And my brother name is Brother Flash. So I'm a pharmacist by training. I work in a managed care setting, so it's more of the business side of things. There's some fancy terms here: STARS, quality, HEDIS, formulary management. Essentially, it's managing large populations and achieving clinical outcomes and financial outcomes for those initiatives. I've always been interested in business, and I partnered with my wife to start chiropractic clinic. She's a chiropractor. She is originally from Houston. I know there's a couple people here from that area. She moved in 2018 after marriage. And so in 2021, post-COVID, when people think it's about the worst time to start a business, and I see some people have had the same great ideas. So we jumped in head first and opened up, and it ended up being a great idea. We're successfully progressing, and we're in Lakeland, right in between Tampa and Orlando. And we just had our first child, 1-year-old. He keeps us busy, and I enjoy to continue to learn, and I look forward to learning from you guys today.
Thank you. All right, next we got Melvin.
Hey guys, I'm Melvin Coratiel, Brother Napoleon. I crossed in fall 2002 from the MU chapter as well. Rizwan and I are line brothers, so we go a long ways. I appreciate the opportunity to just kind of be a fly on the wall and kind of listen into all the information that you guys have here. But as far as my background, I'm a dentist by trade. I started a dental practice in 2013 in Sarasota, Florida, Supreme Smiles of Sarasota. Also, I do have some real estate investments, and I actively invest in real estate. Those are the two businesses that I primarily focus on, but there are some other realms that I'm looking to get into as well. So honestly, I'm just really thrilled to be here and to kind of pick your brain and see how you guys have developed these successful businesses over the years.
All right, thank you. All right, real quick, kind of sort of a straw man layout for today, where we did the introductions. I'm going to go through a little quick for people who aren't familiar with the foundation, what we are. Then we'll go into the discussion about the lessons learned. We're going to try to, at the back end, do a Q&A session for the people that attended today. We have 14 participants so far. Just we'll do a closing remark. So real quick, go into my spiel. I'll make this quick. What is the foundation really? So we started off, I guess, in some sense as the National Alumni Association, which got dissolved because the National Alumni Association is the one who actually created the foundation. The foundation is a nonprofit, independent from the fraternity. It's a official charity and 501c3. So all your donations and contributions are officially can be a charitable write-off. And I'm not an accountant, I'm an electrical engineer, so if we can go into those details with an accountant later if you're interested. But what we're trying to do this year, what's our purpose? We've always wanted to say we have a good alumni network, but we're not linked together. This purpose of this is to bring us back together, join us, and bring that brotherhood, camaraderie, and help each other out. And so the things that we want to do, obviously, for the undergrad is the simple stuff as the scholarships. We also did a leadership development program, which is we had one class graduate. That's both that. All those videos are actually on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and look at those YouTube channels, you can. Justin actually pushed us to create the WhatsApp group. So we created the WhatsApp group. He's also been a proponent to push us to do these webinars. So that's how we started off pushing for the webinars. We have our quarterly newsletter, and that's kind of what we're trying to do this year, is just to do what we always wanted to do, is bring our alumni back into the fold and actually help each other out and provide some value to everybody. Our goals, and quickly, are just continue to do scholarships. We inherited the King Cobra scholarship from the attorneys, so we actually hand out the King Cobra scholarship. We have a couple other different kind of scholarships. We have one thing to describe is we actually have two kind of funds in some sense. We have our National Endowment Fund, but we also have chapter funds. So Melvin's actually part of the USF chapter fund that we kind of manage, but it's their fund. They put out the scholarships, and we collect the money for them and just manage that account. So we have chapter funds in some sense. So national funds and chapter funds. Our goals for the year are pretty much, we just want to make sure we have financial transparency. Your money is going to good efforts like this and scholarships. We are trying to do monthly fireside chats. It's on our YouTube channel. We have 2 so far. Fireside chats, for people who don't know, are just basically just two brothers getting together and just talking, shooting the shit. There's no like lesson learned. It's just trying to get to know brothers. There's a lot of older brothers like me and Anuj around that I'm hoping that other younger brothers like to get to know and see where we're at in life. That's the kind of point of this fireside chats. We're trying to do that monthly. Webinars right now we have set for quarterly, but like we said in the beginning, if we can do more of them, we're all for it. If we can do a monthly, we'll do it. We have no issues with setting up and doing it. So the one event that we're actually doing this year, which one of our brothers, Kazi, was actually leading it, and he came to us. So it's the tri-state golf outing we're doing here in Long Island. So we're doing June 19th, we're doing a golf tournament, which is one of our fundraisers for the year. So that's pretty much it on the foundation, and we'll go into pretty much, I'll kick it back to the moderators and you can kick this off.
All right, thank you, Joel. So we're gonna make it as conversational as we can. We have a list of questions, but we want to get insight from each one of you guys as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and start it off with the first question to open it up. And simply, what motivated you guys to start your own business, and the driving purpose behind your efforts? And I'll throw that to Anuj, being the founding father. Gives them the right to kick it off.
I appreciate that. Well, I'll just say what our mission statement is as far as what our purpose is. And the mission, our purpose is to deliver excellence and value to our guests and clients through expert management of their real estate assets. So essentially, that's what my business does on a client level. I self-manage my own assets as well, but for getting new clients, we offer a truly passive real estate investment and revenue maximization strategies. So that's kind of what our core purpose is in our values. And then the other question was, what made you get into business?
Yeah, what motivated you to start the business? Well, I know you have multiple ones. Right.
I would say as an individual, I was never good with authority. So that and like having my time owned was not a good idea to me. So I think just as a natural, and my father was in business as well, immigrant, came from India, so learned a lot from him as well, thankfully. And and yeah, I just followed like the person that I am and not compromise. So that's why I went into business, because it's just what my calling is. I couldn't really sit around and listen to people.
Right. So essentially no price on your time. There's no dollar amount that can buy your time, right?
Thank God.
Yeah. So anyone else want to just jump in and say their part? Maybe Kunal, you want to?
Yeah. So my personal vision has always been to make an impact in other people's lives, as it relates to people and navigating their careers. And so for us, our vision as a company has been to advance the careers of underrepresented talent, and we focus on like, yeah, Black and brown college students that don't have access to experienced professionals to navigate their career and build confidence. And so ultimately, we wanted to create an avenue to do that. And yeah, why I started was, when I was in college at Georgia Tech, I started the leadership conference, actually, the global leadership conference for the school, but it was run by Sigma Beta Rho. So when I was president, we like ran that whole conference for the entire university. And so that just got me really passionate about helping people build leadership skills. And just having an orientation towards excellence in their career and finding something that they're passionate about and going after it. And so I really wanted to work on a business that was centered around that. And I've met my co-founder through Startup Weekend in Chicago, and we hit it off and kind of started building the business. I also had uncles that started businesses in tech, and they inspired me to go on this journey.
Essentially mentors and people that walk before you to kind of guide you.
Yeah, exactly.
Leslie?
Yeah. So I'm kind of the opposite of both of you guys. I feel like I was always kind of a big nerd in college, in grad school, and work. Right. I felt like I was pretty good at whatever W-2 job that I was ever whatever role I was in, and I loved doing it as well. But I didn't like that I was kind of stuck in doing one thing for like 2 years. So I would job hop every 2 years, 2.5 years to a higher role, broader breadth, whatever, to kind of not to get more experience, but to have more exciting things to work on. And I never had any mentors. I never had anybody that owned a business in my life, or even somebody that had owned one, sold one. Never came across that. When I met my wife, she's Gujarati. Her whole family was business owners. And they always pushed us to kind of do our own thing, and they pushed her as well. But for her, the first business I think that I ran that we ran together that became successful was the dental office, because she had such a high clinical skill set, but almost no business skill set. So I was able to leverage everything that I learned to help her accelerate that business rather quickly, and just definitely in a time that was just horrible for everybody in terms of early 2020, the pandemic, right? And I think your second question, why do we do it, right? What's the purpose? So we own 5 entities right now. Each one of those entities has its own mission and vision statement. But my favorite entity is the holding company or yield company that we own, because it kind of holds all of our other assets. And the mission statement for that one is plant date trees, right? If you know about date trees, they take a long time to grow. If you're growing one, you're not going to eat any of the dates. So we really think about that as setting up this enterprise for our family, creating shade for them so that they can have more opportunity in the future. And just knowing with that mindset, that outright mindset, it's not about getting rich quick. It's going to take a really long time.
Nice.
Essentially creating generational wealth.
Yep.
Last but not least, Justin. You're on mute, Justin.
Sorry. I think going along with what Anuj said, I never saw myself working for anybody. I just felt like coming out of college, I could make more money on my own versus working for someone, and kind of build wealth myself versus working for someone. My career is obviously, like I said, I'm in real estate, so I was able to not only sell real estate, make commissions, but also invest and build long-term wealth that way. But yeah, I think everyone's personality is different. You know, I think there's people who are really good at, you know, being a W-2 employee, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's people that can be an entrepreneur. Sometimes it's a lot of stress. You know, there's a lot of I run 2 businesses, so it's a lot of different moving pieces all the time. And trying to delegate is also a skill set. Delegating is not easy. So having that skill set, and then also just being organized and on track with everything, you can sometimes things fall in the cracks and you can lose track of what you're doing. But no, I think it's just, you know, everyone's personality and skill set's different. And I think for me, my skill set was I'm good at sales. I'm good with people. I can sell. I can be on a commission only job and make it work. So.
Very cool. I actually wanted to chime in, or actually have a question, and it might be for everyone here, but you mentioned being able to delegate. You know, some of us, me in particular, sometimes you get into kind of micromanaging team members. How do you manage or control that aspect? You know, I know there's a lot of trust that's involved there. So what would you say to a micromanager in terms of not doing that potentially, or is that a skill that you still want to utilize?
I mean, I would say micromanagement probably has to happen at some level, depending on what business you're in and what stage of your business that you're in, right? Like when you're beginning, everything's kind of micromanaged. But yeah, delegation is very important. I mean, your people are your business, right? So it's like you want to be able to delegate, but I think the main problem with delegation is a person that you're delegating to, or it could be the delegator as well. But really, it's like, do you have the right person on board, and how do you know that you have the right person on board? Because you can delegate and have all these plans, but you know, I think it starts with you can't, like, if somebody comes into your business, you can't teach them like core values, like the person that they are. They should have formed that already, you know, prior. So you can only kind of teach them what your culture is and how you are. And you know, if they mesh with that, then it's somebody, you know, if they're reliable, responsible, then you know, you can potentially delegate to that person. But it definitely starts with the person that you delegate to.
Cool.
I would be interested to see what Kunal says, because it sounds like, you know, if you raise a lot of money, I'm sure you've had to hire a lot of employees with decent salaries, I would assume.
Yeah,
I would
for
assume.
sure.
So for me personally, I've always had assistants and people working under me that have been on commission. So you know, it was easy for me to kind of micromanage them and delegate, because they were right by my side. I was able to tell them everything what to do, and I'm a perfectionist, so sometimes when they're not doing it correctly, I have to step in and do it myself. But I'm sure you, raising millions of dollars, you go in, you hire an employee, and you kind of just step back and let them do what they do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my world, it's all about firing yourself from jobs that you know aren't good at or don't want to do, right? And so you have to find the right people that you trust. But it goes back to the same things that you mentioned, and that Anuj mentioned it. You know, first you have to have values alignment, like, you know, make sure that they understand what your business is in for, and they're coming in at the right stage of the business. There's people that, you know, will be comfortable working in a startup like environment, that seed stage, versus somebody that's, you know, not comfortable working in an environment that is, you know, later stage, and vice versa. So finding that right team is really key, because you have to trust everything that they do. You know, you're putting millions of dollars on the line when it comes to VC capital in their hands. And you know, the one thing that we try to look out for is, like, are they learning on the job, or are they actually like using the things that they've learned and applying it to our business? People are always kind of learning in their job, but you want that to be minimized in the early stages of a company, because every person that you employ and that you hire in the startup world has to be a 10xer. So they have to take every dollar that that you are spending on them and make it worth 10x that value. So
Very cool.
if we're hiring somebody for a $175,000 job, they should be bringing in, at least $2 million.
Very cool.
So when you hire somebody, are you is it you that's making the hiring decision, or do you have an HR team, or what does that look like?
There's no HR teams initially in the startup world. So
No.
yeah, it's myself, my business partner. We go through our vetting process. We have advisors. We have our board. It's kind of a team effort. Ultimately, my business partner, who's the CEO, makes the decision. But we all kind of come together, do multiple rounds of interviews to understand if that candidate's the right fit.
I love the answers, guys. Leslie, if you want to add in anything, feel free. We got to jump to another question real soon, but
just real quick. So I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about values alignment, right? Because that ultimately dictates the approach a person will take toward whatever goal you hand them. But additionally, when that employee's new, are they learning on the job? A way to avoid micromanagement that we found is get really good systems, especially if this is a process job versus, a project job, right? So not only do you want to handhold them in whatever, pedagogical style you want to teach them through, whether it's, notes, a video, or, a slideshow, whatever, just let them know how to do the job, but also let them know what defines whether a job is done. Right? Because ultimately 2-3 weeks, 3 months after that person starts working for you, they're going to figure out a way to do it themselves that's a little bit more efficient. And this is when I think micromanagers get frustrated. People get frustrated at micromanagers because they don't necessarily know when the job is done to the degree of quality that the owner or the manager or the organization dictates, right? So setting that out is really important. And then, like you guys said, the values alignment is super important because that dictates how what approach they're going to do to get to that job done.
And knowing your background a little bit, Leslie, and I can relate working W-2 and diving into the entrepreneurship world, that those system processes, making the processes lean and efficient, this kind of extends the hand of a micromanager, where you get the owner's vision down to the T without you being there present. So
yeah, and it goes back to, I think Kunal made that point, right? You got to fire yourself, right?
Yeah.
Unless you get this alignment and they really understand when the job is done, you're never going to be able to fire yourself from that job, and you're just going to be wearing more and more hats as the organization scales.
Thanks, guys. Moving on to the next question. We're on a little crunch of time, but what are the initial hurdles that you guys faced, and what is one or maybe two lessons that you learned from starting your own business? Anybody want to take a crack at that? I know it's kind of a general question, but.
I mean, my first business was a gas station purchase. So that's a running business. It's not like a startup that's just, you're starting from the ground up. It's something that's running, and it's an asset that's already producing income. So, financing is obviously a hurdle because you are buying assets. And then I would say the due diligence phase, right? It's a big learning thing when you're buying a new business, an operating business. You got to make sure that the numbers are right, and that that your return is what you estimated it to be. And you got to see where the value add options are, where you can improve this business, improve the revenue, and make it worth more. So I would say definitely due diligence, learning the numbers, understanding the numbers, and raising capital.
Very cool. Thank you.
For me, I'll say, I was, like I mentioned when I gave my intro, there's a little echo, but I started this network called Nexus a few years ago, and I always had a skill set of besides sales, I always had a skill set of connecting people. So I was like, let me take this skill set that I have and build this network. Because I have such a strong network already, I'm really good at connecting people. So when I started, we were at 15 members. Now we're at 130. So that took 2.5 years. You know, I think when you start a business, you got to look at the long-term goals, the vision. What's your end goal? Because it's not going to happen right away, right? You know, my network has gotten a lot more success and notoriety than it did when I started. I didn't really know what to expect because it was a new business. Only a few of my peers in the whole country have this style of business. So I think you got to just see the long vision. What is your end goal? What are you reaching towards? You know what I mean? So I think that's important. Just having that patience.
Okay. Thank you.
Let me add in a little bit. So I think in summation, two things really hindered us whenever I would start businesses in the past. And I think I've gotten over both of these hurdles. The first is analysis paralysis, right? So trying to build a perfect business plan, figure out everything that needs to go into it and how you're going to do everything, right? Well, reality is come day one or day two or day three, you got to throw some of that out the window and pivot. Which brings me to my second thing is learning how to pivot and pivot smartly, right? And when to pivot. You can only stick with that perfect business plan until it just starts not working out, right? And to be an entrepreneur, to be really successful, you're going to get hit in the face basically every month with something, and you never know what it's going to be or where it's going to come from. So you got to learn to adapt really quickly and learn to make not the smart test decisions, but smart decisions that'll keep your business alive, thriving, and ready to fight another day.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Leslie. Pivoting is important. We pivoted the business like 4 times, different industry, different market, different product altogether. Like we could have rebranded the company and, started from scratch, but we had the same vision. So we kept kind of things going with the company, but pivoted quite often. For us, I think, the biggest hurdle for us was just, the ed tech industry is very relationship driven, and you have to be around for a number of years for people to believe that you'll stick around, because schools and nonprofits that we worked with don't make decisions based off of just, a couple years of history under your belt. So we had to be around for a long time to get even any sort of credibility when we walked into the room or when we had a meeting with these university executives and administrators that we work with now. So I think it's just, kind of for us, it was the 10,000 hours, just being in the space, being top of mind, seeing that you're still around, kicking the tires down the road sort of thing, until, we got to a breaking point where we found the customers that were the ideal for the type of product that we had built.
Very cool.
So, yeah, product market fit is pretty key for any startup, and you have to have the patience and the overall tenacity to go after it.
Okay.
I had a follow up to that question that Melvin had, and maybe a 1-sentence statement for this, because we know that entrepreneurs do not make up the majority of people in the workforce. We're the minority. There's a reason for that. There's a lot of fears to jump into business. Some people never make that jump. If you guys had just 1 sentence, 1 statement, 1 idea that you can share with those that are going to be watching, and they're just sitting on the fence and they're in their W-2, they got the safety zone, they got the 401ks building up, and majority of the people are going to be like, how are you going to just leave all that, right? But they have a dream, and time is ticking. So what would you guys say? So if Justin, I'll just start with yourself.
Yeah, I was at a conference maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I heard Steve Harvey talk about what is your gift and how do you know what your gift is. And he was saying that a lot of times a gift is one of the things that comes most natural to us. Like, what is the one thing that comes naturally to you? For me, I love connecting people. I love networking. So I took my gift and I created a business from that. So I think it aligns with what is your gift and what are you passionate about? Because I'm sure everybody has a gift that whatever that gift is, it comes naturally to them. You know, you might have a skill set that I don't have, and vice versa. So I think if you can use that skill set and you're passionate about it, I think you should go for that. I think the world becomes a better place when you do that. You know what I mean? And I think it's very, very powerful. I've experienced it the last few years, and I've seen just incredible changes in all aspects of my life because I'm using my gift at a higher level now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, matching the gift, your skill set, passion, and maybe also adding the maybe value, the return on investment that it has to have produced dollars. Because if we're talking about produce dollars or you raise dollars, or you have to have some kind of way to fund that dream, right? So
yeah, it all depends on what it is. You know,
right.
if you're in the startup space, obviously you're going to need to fund. If it's an app or a technology, you're going to need to fund that. It all depends on what it is.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So, Anuj, what would you say to someone that's on the fence that's trying to, you know?
I mean, look, trial and error is the best teacher, right? So the only way to really understand what you're going to get into and do is actually by doing it, and understand that mistakes will be made and use those mistakes as learning lessons, right? Pain is there to teach us things. So what is the fear? The fear is uncertainty. So, okay, fine. Then try it and see what the certainty becomes, you know, see what it can be. And understand that, you know, the pain is going to happen, and take that as learning lesson. And that's it. I mean, trial and error, man. Just do it. Like Nike
Just
said,
jump.
it's very simple.
Just jump and just do it. Leslie, what do you think?
Oh man, this is honestly an easy one. Just do it, right? I think you have one life. You owe it to yourself. If you're thinking about something and you can't shake it and you can't get it out of your head, do it. You know, if you have the means, get up, just try it out. See if people respond to your idea, and give yourself good runway. You know, like take 2 weeks off vacation, a month off vacation, go work on it and see if it works. And guess what? If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You can always go back.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier with analysis paralysis. I think many of us fall into that, and a lot of people in the healthcare field or very technical fields, we overthink, we analyze, but just doing it, and um, trial and error. And Kunal, you want to add any?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that's said, but I will add that it's not easy. So just be in it for all the right reasons, because it takes a level of grit that a lot of people don't have. It takes hustle, and it takes, you know, there's hard days. There's days where you don't want to get out of bed, but you have to, and you have to encourage yourself to do so. And it's an opportunity. It's a privilege to work on your own idea, and be funding your own self. And you can't take that for granted, and you have to give it your all. We've had people join our organization, third, fourth, fifth employee, right? That worked for Microsofts and Googles and Nikes of the world, and they thought, hey, I want to find the path and find the journey to be an entrepreneur or join a startup. And quickly they realize it's not the right fit because they just don't have the stamina. So all of that stuff that was mentioned of like just doing it is great, but just really be self-reflective and look deeply in yourself, of like how long will you want to do this, because some businesses take off in 2 years, some businesses don't take off at all. So you just got to be in it for the right reasons.
Look at the long-term game, and self-starter. You got to be a self-starter pretty consistently over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So that's going to transition into a topic, an area in business that there's many ways to go about this, and we do need to obtain it. And we have people from very different spaces, so maybe there's going to be different ways you guys got this. Meaning, financing your business, getting the money for your business. There's various ways. There's people that raise capital. You can go to a traditional loan. How did you go about finding the financing for your guys' business? And I can start with Anuj.
Okay, cool. I'll keep it concise. Basically, private capital, I think, is a good source. We build relationships to leverage those relationships. And private capital, you pay interest on. So if you're starting off and you can access that, relatives or friends or whoever, I think is a good financing point. As well as seller financing. So if you're buying an existing business, real estate asset, there's many things that people can do seller financing on. So that's another good way to raise it. And a good old fashioned savings, save your money, have some amount and put that up, because if your people are going to invest in you or lend to you, they got to make sure that you have skin in the game.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Leslie?
Yeah. So I was lucky. Everything that I do is kind of asset light, and you're able to lever too. So for me, when we first started, we saved a couple $100,000, and then we borrowed a couple $100,000 just straight up bank debt, right, to finance it. And afterwards, all we did was similar to real estate, right? We kept recycling capital as the business grew, relevering, taking it out, buying more, relevering. I think that strategy is used so frequently in real estate, not so much in other businesses, but it's what the big boys do. That's something I learned so you said work at Microsoft, you may not have grit to do a startup. I highly agree. Most of the people fail. I worked at Microsoft. I love doing this way more than big corp, but that's how the big corp guys do. They just scale the business, refinance, deploy capital, keep moving.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Kunal? Yeah.
Yeah, in the tech world, there's a very structured way of fundraising. When you have an app idea or any kind of tech solution for customers. So you start off with friends and family. There's accelerator programs around the country that you want to apply to get initial seed capital. From there, those accelerators typically introduce you to investors that allow you to build your network in the industry, in this city that you're in. And ultimately, you want to get some super angels or angels behind your idea that believe in your vision, but you don't have anything really to prove yet that you can take care of the market, but they just believe in who you are, and you make a great impression on them, and you're hopefully working on a business that they're passionate about. And then you go through those phases and you start building traction. You get to the seed stage, past the seed stage, and you have a product in the market, and you're ready to go after some institutional capital. So ultimately you have to show clear metrics of success, revenue, and usage. Ultimately, traction is measured by revenue and usage, and you want to show, if you don't have enough revenue yet, then you have, this many users on the platform doing X amount of things, and showcase that engagement so they can see the potential of monetizing your users. And then, just raise VC capital, and then you hit the ground running, and don't fuck it up after that. So, because they'll be after you if and they'll take everything from you too, because they don't really care. They'll put you into the common stock phase and ultimately take all of your company, even in some cases, if you're not organized in the right way, and if you start building a lot of debt on your balance sheet. So with the tech world, it's always about raising additional capital. There's very little startups in the tech world that are profitable. And so it's just showcasing a lot of traction and showcasing the potential and increasing your valuation over time.
A lot of venture capital.
Yeah, VC capital, venture capital.
Is there personal guarantees on like the VC capital investment? No, right?
Not the VC capital. Sometimes those angels will tell you to make a personal guarantee, which is hard things to do. Ultimately, if they're really nice and they're worth a lot, they won't come back at you for it. And if they're, you've built a great relationship, they'll write it off. They've, over time, if they know that, your business can be successful, then they'll continue to support you versus trying to go after some, pennies on a dollar for them. So.
Right. And they're looking like a 10-year time horizon, something like this on a ROI. Like that's the expectation that they get
The
set.
VCs are more on a 5 to 7 year cycle.
Okay.
And the super angels, the angels are, in that 10 year window. Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
And Justin,
Yeah, I mean, I never had I never needed financing for both my businesses because they were just commission based. I bought property and used finance, but I think for people listening, I think I'm a big proponent of networking, going to as many high level networking events as you can. You never know who you'll meet. You could meet your next investor there. You could meet potentially lenders or bankers that will finance your property or your business. So, if you're doing it with Anuj and I are kind of in the same industry. So like he said, if you're using, if you're buying an asset, you can go to the bank, you can do a hard money loan. You can get private finance, seller financing. So it just depends on what the asset is and what you're trying to do. But I think for me, always having a strong network of different whenever I have a need, I can look at my Rolodex and I can see what do I need and who can help me with that resource. You know what I mean?
right?
So I think I'm a big proponent of networking, and just building a strong network is really important to me.
Yeah. Sounds like in the real estate industry, a banker, having a strong banker or finance.
Yeah, and you always want to get a few different opinions too. I don't think it's never good to just look at one lender. You always want to get a few opinions. I think with anything that you do. So.
So do you guys feel that private money, individual lenders are more advantageous or better for your business versus like going up for an SBA or a bank loan? What do you value, or what works better for your industry?
For me, I mean, a bank loan, you're going to get a cheaper interest rate versus private. So
Right.
the numbers usually make a lot more sense. It was 3-4 years ago during COVID. It was a really, really good time to buy real estate, to buy investments, because the interest rate was so cheap. Like, I own a lot of properties and I kick myself for not refinancing them and buying more. So it depends on what the interest rate is, but I think you're always going to get a better rate if you go to a traditional bank versus a private money lender in the real estate space.
Yeah, I mean, at an arm's length distance type of lender, they're going to charge higher rates, hard money. If you can leverage a relationship with a friend or a relative, that's off your credit report, right? It's not reporting on your credit report. It's, and they won't secure it against any asset. So you can potentially have an unsecured loan that's not counting against your revolving credit or anything like that. So I think that end of private capital is a good way to do it as well.
Okay. Very good, very good. Well, we are coming up to about 9 o'clock, and we're going to open up some questions that we received through the chat. So we're just kind of filling those in. Joel, do you want us to kind of start with that at this moment?
Yep, sorry. We'll do the chat questions real quick first because there are not that many, and then we'll open it up to the participants and they can ask their questions live. I'll read them off. We'll start with the first one is basically, are you seeking any interns? If so, what are like the requirements for interns, especially for new inducted brothers, if there are any?
Sorry, this is to us, the panel, correct? This question?
Yep. So Go ahead, sorry.
I'm always looking for interns, so I don't know if I should just leave my contact information in the chat or what the best way to facilitate
So-
that.
So what I was thinking at the end, the panelists can contact me, and I'll push out which avenue you want to be contacted, because some people want to put out the phone number, email address, LinkedIn, I don't know. So I'll push it out to the WhatsApp group at the end, how to contact you individually.
Yeah, are these are from alumni, or these are from?
These questions,
Yeah.
yeah, these are from the chat, the current chat in this room.
Okay.
So these are from the participants in this webinar. So, all right. So it looks like Justin's looking for interns, and we will provide a contact info for those who are looking. The second question, I'm not 100% sure exactly what they're asking for, but he says, if I come across a younger brother that's seeking advice, consultation, support, whatever capacity from your gentleman, what's your preferred medium of initial outreach? So I'm assuming that's just what's your contact information. So we'll just skip that for now. Go hold that to the end. Third question I kind of like. So for the real estate experts on here, how difficult has it been to find deals? And I kind of like that question because this environment, I think the housing price is so high, and then you have interest rate high. And then once interest rates going to drop, I feel like the housing prices are going to go up again. So, how do you find your deals? And as interest rates are relatively high, what are you doing differently in this market? Now we have high interest rates, and the prices for houses haven't really dropped really, I feel like, either much. So, or how are you finding your deals in this market?
Should I go? I basically MLS and some wholesalers, also just neighbors as well. Just kind of local outreach and talking to kind of people to dig up deals and find those deals. As far as you gotta look at a lot of volume. You gotta run a lot of numbers. You gotta run your pro forma. You gotta know what your income's looking like. You gotta know what your expenses are looking like. And there's deals out there. There are distressed sellers. And I think in the real estate world, cash is king. So if you can come strong, then you can negotiate a good deal, and that'll boost up your returns in the long run.
All right. That's it from pretty much the chat questions. We'll just open it up to anybody that wants to ask. I got one more question come in. I'll just read it off. What do you think about the changes to how the realtors would conduct business with changes to the sellers not splitting buyers and agent fees? That's a good question. So with the change in agent fees, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent as well. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really noticed much of a difference yet. They are negotiating commissions down. Like if you look on MLS, they'll say, okay, in Texas, it's traditional single family been like 3%, like 3 and 3. But now I'm seeing like 2s out there more often. So it'll make it more competitive. I think a client will have to definitely vet their buyer agent to make sure that he knows what he's doing. And there's more value in really being a buyer agent rather than just knowing somebody and being able to make a commission. Like I help investor clients find deals. So there's big value for them in me doing the analysis that I do for them. So I think you got to just show that value on the market as an agent. And then in some cases, you may be able to negotiate your commissions higher, depending on what the value you provide.
All right.
I do have a question to ask, just general business wise, actually. But for those of you that have set up your own businesses, we touch upon this at a certain point. Due diligence is important when you're vetting a business, when you're picking out new hires. Who do you feel is one of the most important parts of your initial team that you need to have? For instance, CPA, an accountant, anything, professionals that you may lean on. What would you suggest to somebody that's looking to start a business?
For me, I think it's the most important part of business is marketing. Like if you're not generating clients or marketing, if you're not generating clients or leads for your business through marketing, you have nothing. And that's, my opinion. You really have to figure out a way to get your product or your business out to the masses as quickly as possible. So for me, it's all about marketing. digital. Obviously digital is probably the biggest medium right now, depending on the business. But if you can really, like, I leverage my business a lot through Instagram, and I was able to scale through Instagram. So you really have to have a strong sense of marketing, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right, there's one more question that came in through the chat. So if you had 500K liquid cash, what would you do with it? Anybody can answer the question if you think.
Man, that's tough. I'll just tell you what I think. So, you know what I would honestly do with it is I would buy another dental office. I would buy a struggling office and just implement my systems and scale it to $1 million or $1.5 million. I know if you ask my business partner, shoot, it's like hit me and just be like, man, you're crazy. I would not do that. But I think as soon as you know what works, right? I'm 99% sure the real estate guys would buy more real estate because they're good at it. And, you know, so I think if you know what works and you know you have a specialized skill set and you can add value, then you can get the best return by just investing in what you know.
It also depends on like what time frame you're in, because I used to buy, you know, 1 or 2 properties consistently year over year. But I haven't bought anything in the last 2 or 3 years just because the market is just too high. So you know, this time you might have to just sit on the cash until something good pops up. You know what I mean? You can make 4%, 4 to 5% now with a CD. So it really depends on the time frame. I mean, right now everything is inflated. So
Yeah, in the AI, in the tech world, everything is about AI right now. So we would put that 500 grand into AI development and training a model for automating some of the work that we're doing that's manual.
All right, another question that came
Just
in.
real quick, what I would do is a shopping center with a laundromat business. I am looking into purchasing a laundromat. It's a good recession-proof business. If anybody's interested, we could talk offline.
That's interesting because I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos showing some laundromats a lot lately, so that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great investment to be in. But next question that came in is for those who have diverse real estate portfolios, are there specific states that you're looking into more? Do you have a preference on different states? I know there's certain states like Georgia is better for landlords versus New York is not really good for landlords. Or do brothers invest outside the state, or do you prefer some like near you so you can run to it to check on it? So how do you look into your real estate portfolio? Do you have portfolios that are far away from you and you have a property manager, or what do you look for when you're doing real estate, buying real estate, location wise? Again, another for real estate guys. Anyone?
Anuj, you want to go or?
So man, I'll just be quick. I'm in one market. I'm in Houston. I like the close proximity and the operational control because I run a lot of short-term like hospitality business, short-term rentals. So I like the control. I like to be in one market. I have been in Chicago in the past running properties. I just find it hard when you can't really have your own team handling things. So I mean, that's just me. Obviously, people have big portfolios all over the world. So that's where I stand with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I own property in Michigan. I've done really well in Michigan. The prices are reasonable. I've gotten, good cap rates on single family homes here. I'm also in Miami. Miami is much more expensive, but you can also do really well. 2 or 3 years ago was a much better time to buy in bigger cities. Now everything's expensive. But I think if you're in the Midwest, you can look at like Cleveland, Detroit, Metro Detroit, Tennessee. Certain markets there, the properties are relatively inexpensive. So
yeah, kind of led into the next question is like what's the cap rate you're typically looking for from a projection standpoint to take a deal on? Is there something you look at like I want at least a 5% cap rate or 8% cap rate, or is it Depends on
I would
location.
say a different way to ask the question is cap rate doesn't take into account debt. So I'm basically looking for a 10% cash on cash return on a real estate asset. That's the after paying debt.
Mm. All right. I think there's one more question coming in. If anybody wants to not use the chat and go live video and ask audio questions, that's fine too.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Go for it.
Yeah, I was just curious what your guys' thoughts on being a hard money lender for other folks, especially in our Indian community. Comes up a lot, especially in the Gujarati community, just like through networks. You know, you often hear, "Hey, I know somebody who can, give you a certain return," and often it's, trustworthy connections. So just your thoughts on just hard money lending in this environment.
If you're going to be a hard money lender, make sure you have some, equity, right? You lend it like 70%. But I think the hard thing that's hard to predict is the ARV, because usually guys are going to buy like a distressed asset, and then they're going to put some money into it, and then make that asset worth whatever amount more. So just to make sure that if you're the lender, to make sure that you're covered on your end and you have equity in case you need to liquidate. And that's
So you
based
mean
on
like
comps
collateral?
and huh?
You mean like have collateral, right? In case something
And
goes
collateral,
sour.
right, exactly.
Gotcha.
So if you let's just say you have $500,000, I don't know, make sure the asset's worth 800K and the equity's there.
Not
Yeah.
I don't, I think, not collateral, meaning like putting another property up as collateral, but I think as you're saying, Anuj, that let's say you're lending a property, the property's worth $1 million. You want to make sure that the buyer puts at least $300,000 down, and you're lending
Exactly.
70% on that. So there's equity in the deal.
Yeah,
So if
gotcha.
he doesn't pay, then you have a lot of
Yeah.
equity in the deal, and you can foreclose on him.
Yep.
Exactly.
Got it.
Any other questions
Thanks.
from the group? Any questions from the panelists to each other? I know there's different backgrounds in everybody. Is there any questions you have for each other you had in mind?
I mean, Justin, I just want to get linked in with your network, so we'll talk offline.
Yeah, I think there's some synergies. I was gonna ask Kano, like I've been thinking about, like I was saying, I built this membership-based network, and I was thinking, is there a startup opportunity here? Should I look for funding? But I think our network's more of an intimate, it is scalable, because I think there's a need for professionals like us to connect at some level. But maybe it's a conversation we can have offline.
For sure. Yeah, there's apps that are out there that could help you power that network or community to connect in a more intimate way too.
Yeah.
Look into something called Mighty Networks.
Do any of you guys use a good CRM system, or any? We haven't really touched on marketing, or anything you guys are doing for marketing your businesses, or?
Yeah, we use HubSpot,
Yeah.
Kind of traditional tech stuff, which is, creating landing pages to ensure that people are coming to your site in different ways and converting on your landing pages.
Yeah, I use like a white label version of HubSpot, or at least whatever marketing guys I've hired in the past have done that. And my current marketing guy does that too. Additionally, I'm a very big believer in SEO when it comes to a brick and mortar business. That's also a long live business, right? SEO takes a long time to develop. However, if you're servicing thousands of clients a year, and you have to be there for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, hey, well, that's runway for SEO to grow. And it's been huge for our business. You wouldn't think of a dental office getting travelers from out of the country, but we do, because people see what we post, and we've just years, right? So
Do you have someone that helps you with SEO, or do you do Google AdWords as well?
Oh yeah, we do basically any kind of digital marketing, we basically do. But yeah, we have a robust team. Different people do different things. When we started, it was basically me and my wife writing the SEO. We hire a Fiverr guy to create the website. That's obviously scaled to professionals, maintaining, updating it as it scales. We have a different team that runs our Google Ads and Google Analytics, and then a sister company of that company runs basically the marketing for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any drip campaign that we do. There's just a bit. We didn't really go into all of this, but I think that's like the more fun part of business.
I think there are a number of brothers that actually have marketing businesses that have made themselves available or can. That's something that maybe the foundation can kind of hopefully get us all in touch with. I know from my previous history, starting out the dental practice, I've had some brothers help me with marketing from the beginning. So I'd say let's lean on those resources that we have within our national network.
Yeah, maybe we can have our next webinar focused on marketing. I never heard of this before, but on the chat they said Zoho for CRM. I don't know what that is, but have you guys used Zoho?
I've used Zoho, but not for CRM.
Yeah, Zoho is really meant for customer service, but they have CRM components too. On the side of like SEO and marketing in general, for the folks that are starting new businesses, definitely lean in on AI. It can do a lot of work for you when it comes to drip campaigns, finding the keywords, SEO, managing your business, and just coming up with copy for your marketing collateral.
Well, Kunal, let's say I want to rank for a certain keyword. All right, I go to AI, ask them what is the best, what are the best keywords for my business. Then what? Where do I go to find the person that can help me to get on Google and to help me, with SEO and AdWords? Do I just go to Upwork or?
Well, to rank, you have to create content around those keywords, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately,
well, the keywords that I'm talking about are very, very competitive. So it'd probably make more sense to just do AdWords, I would assume, right?
Yeah. Then if you're willing to spend money in ad campaigns, then yeah, definitely just going to an agency or going to Fiverr who can just start up your AdWords campaign. It's pretty simple to do. It's just about what's your budget and making sure that you're converting those clicks.
All right, we're coming up on 9:17 right now. Do you have any moderators have any final questions, or do the panelists have any final remarks? So we'll kick it to the moderators first.
I think the only thing I was going to add to it, well, first, thank you guys for taking out the time to share and discuss. We learned a lot of great information. Thing I wanted to add on to what Melvin was saying, to leaning on some of the brothers that do have the skill set of marketing and others. I did put on the WhatsApp group a little time ago that we're going to create a location where we can have brothers drop their business information. So we'll have like a section for marketing, and those that are in the marketing space, once they're aware of that's there, they can put in their information. We can reach out to them for that type of assistance, and other businesses as well. We can drop it in there. So Joel, we will have like a space. I believe we do have a space on Google, like a Google share drive kind of thing.
So that's kind of one of our, and I'm gonna go with this at my closing remarks, but that's kind of the one thing that our focus on for this year is to build out that database. I know we've been talking about databases for a long time, but I think the foundation is in a different spot where we actually probably get to the get it done. So we're gonna build it out. We're gonna figure out what software tools or what avenue is probably the best way to do it, and that's one of our items for this year to do.
Awesome. Okay, that's
will you guys be sharing everyone's contact information on the chat or in the WhatsApp chat, or?
I'll do it in the foundation WhatsApp chat once I get it from you guys, because like I said, I don't know if you'd rather be contacted through LinkedIn or email or phone number. So once I get that information, I'll send it out on the WhatsApp.
I'll just drop my number.
Go for that too.
For me, final words. I mean, thank you guys for hosting this. This is wonderful. I'm also looking for my next thing, so looking to transition to another tech role. So if you have any friends that are in the tech world, looking for product, looking for customer success, looking for an overall entrepreneurial business operator, let me know.
Melvin, anything to add?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to kind of listen in. It's been a great opportunity to just learn from all of you, your various industries. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. And anything to add at the end? Last remarks?
With me?
Anything? Yep. Anything you'd like
No, it's just amazing. It's just amazing to see where we where we are coming from, like Max's Garage in '98. So that's pretty amazing. And like, I know this is to bring us all together and really really do some big stuff so we can collaborate. I would say already, me personally, a lot of my business clients and investor partners are brothers. I think Zia's on this call. He's a business partner of mine. So and I've done some work with Sunj. So really, I think we all can, and I've really leveraged our network and just built on those relationships of straight trust. Like, it's just like, your word is as good as what it is. And I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all you guys here. So
Yeah,
that's how I'll end it.
Justin?
No, I really appreciate you guys setting this up, and I'm a big believer in one relationship can change your life. So I think just being part of this brotherhood is amazing. I just felt like after I graduated, I was still involved in SIGGROW a little bit, but besides the Facebook group, I really didn't know what was going on, and I really wanted to reconnect with a lot of the brothers. So I'm happy that through the WhatsApp group and through different channels, we're able to reconnect. And now I'm all about connecting and collaborating. So you guys can always reach me on my cell phone, email. I'm always available. So.
All right, thank you. Leslie?
Yeah. Yeah, similar to what Anuj said and what Justin said, I'm just so thankful that have this alumni association even that's putting these things together and bringing the four of us. I see the names on the list that are even watching this. I know that some of the entrepreneurs that are just watching this are even more successful than the people on the panel. And I hope that we can just keep the conversation and keep learning from each other. But if there's any, undergrads or people that haven't started yet, I really encourage you, just reach out to any one of us, reach out to me personally. If you want to just Zoom and whiteboard or, get your idea off the ground, I'm happy to help, because that's honestly the most fun part.
All right, thanks. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. So again, the foundation, we're here, for the alumni, to bring you guys together as a group, bring those synergies together, bring that networking that we all want, so that's what we're here for. We want to build out that alumni database so that, say you need marketing, you can be able to go and say, like, search for who's your marketing person look for, or this guy has a marketing business, or this guy has a real estate business I want to talk to him about. So that's hopefully the future of our database, and this foundation is getting that database going. To do that, we're going to probably end up investing in some software tools. We're Kunal graciously said he'll help us start our mentorship program, so if we can have link up some mentors with mentees if possible in the future. And like I said, we need your support. We to volunteer for these things, come to the webinars, talk to it. I really appreciate everybody today, from the panelists to the moderators, all your support and getting this going. And we're just doing this for the fraternity and the brotherhood. You know, like I said, I've been in this for 25 years. I still think about all the crazy memories that I had, fun memories I had with Anuj. All the stories I could share. It's just probably
I
not
don't
the
remember.
I remember everything now. I'm just kidding. But the reason why we joined the fraternity was for the brotherhood and the networking. So and it's funny, my kids always make fun of me because everywhere I go, if I talk to someone like, "Is that a brother?" I'm like, "Yes, that's a brother," because they know that anywhere I go out randomly, I'm going to Manhattan walking and meet somebody and like, "Oh yeah, is that a brother?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a brother." So that's kind of that's a great part about being part of the fraternity. So we just want to make sure now that we have these virtual tools that we can join us virtually, and it'll be great. There is a survey at the end of this for all the people that attended. There's a quick 3-question survey. I have it out on the chat, but I'll put it again. It's just basically 3 questions of, what did you like about the webinar? What things you can improve on, and what kind of webinars you want to see in the future. So that's about it. Any other parting remarks? And if not, we'll close it out for today.
Thank you, Joel, and to the foundation for keep on everything in the background, and your day-to-day, and is very much appreciated. Your efforts are very much appreciated.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And it's funny, the fraternity influence. I remember when Anuj was talking about pain and starting the business. I'm like, all I can think of is pain is temporary, pride is forever. And that's something I learned. So I'll close it off with that. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for
Good night, guys.
joining.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.